Hello, this is Roman Gabriel, and you are listening to The Grueling Truth.
Welcome, everybody, to Week 15 of the NFL's Grueling Truth Pick'em Show, brought to you by Gridiron Mo, a new interactive football app where you get to call what the offense or defense should do before a live NFL game and see what all others have called also. Check out Gridiron Mo at www.gridironmo.com. So, as always, we always introduce the biggest loser first, and this guy seems to always get introduced first. Os Davis.
Really?
You were 8-8. How you doing?
I always seem to get introduced first. Really?
It seems like it. I don't know.
Wow.
I could be wrong.
Well, look, nothing can get me down. And before I say this, I mean absolutely no disrespect to the late, great Dr. Martin Luther King, but free at last, thank God Almighty, free at last, are the Rams of Jeff Fisher. Nothing
and who took over as the head coach? Was it Jim Fossil? Did I see Jim Fossil's the head coach now?
His son is the special teams coach.
Yes, that's what I had heard. This being the Rams, we might not hear until game time who the acting coach is, but I don't care.
Well, they've had an acting coach for the last couple of years.
Right, exactly. It's just good for the Fisher era to be over. So 8-8 last week, I don't care. I went with a bunch of off-the-wall picks, including the Cleveland Browns. You know, I don't care. Nothing can get me down.
Okay. Next up, we got the guy who finished barely ahead of Oz, former Denver Bronco Mark Cooper. How you doing, Coop?
Well, I'd be a lot better if we had an offensive line, because we can't run the ball to save our lives.
Well, if I'm you, from now on, I'm asking to be introduced as a former Tampa Bay Buccaneer.
Yeah, let's do that from now on. They're off the
Guys, help me welcome to the show, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer Mark Cooper. How you doing, Coop?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, go Bucks. Go Bucks.
Yeah, they look good this week, Coop.
Yeah, this is a great team. They're a team of the future. Let's go.
Well done.
All right, next up, we will introduce, since Matt Andrewskavage won last week at 12-4, he's not here. So we'll introduce the biggest winners as me and Brian Schmidt, since we were at 11-5. How you doing, Schmitty? Brian?
I guess that answers the question.
Brian?
He must get disconnected.
Brian?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now, Brian.
Hot dog. I'm sitting here talking away, and I was like, why is it not working? Well, somehow I must have hit the mute button. Damn. As I was saying to myself, I've got a good
flying start, Brian.
I've got a good thing of NyQuil in me, and I got a couple shots of whiskey. Let's get this thing rolling. Let's go.
All right.
We'll start off with Brian. What was your big takeaway from last week?
My big takeaway is that Dallas Cowboy fans and this is why they don't win. Dak Prescott is now you got people, and including the owner, that's saying, "Oh, I'm open to quarterback change." Dak Prescott has led you to only two losses this year, both to the Giants, ironically. And now all of a sudden you're ready to change quarterbacks. And the thing is you got Jones doing it, you got fans doing it, being here in Texas, you're hearing it's like, wait a minute. 3 weeks ago, this dude was the second coming. And now all of a sudden you're ready to put Romo back in. This is why Dallas doesn't win. And this is why Cowboy fans, there's issues. You people need to go get some counseling. You got to get some work in because this is not good. So.
And that's
and the Steelers won in the snow. And Le'Veon Bell proved why he is the best running back in the NFL. Other than that, that's all I got.
Yeah, and I agree with you. That's my big takeaway. Everybody forgets Le'Veon Bell, but I think hands down he's better than anybody, including Ezekiel Elliott. And I think Dallas better watch out for Tampa Bay coming up here soon, because I think Tampa Bay matches up really well with them, and their defense has been the biggest improvement. I mean, they've got enough offensive weapons. I think they're an actual threat to at least win a game or two in the playoffs. Coop?
You know, I have to agree with you. The Bucs have really come on, and the Titans have really come on, and not because they beat Denver, but just that offensive line plays really good together. And, you know, the Cardinals have disappointed me all year. Every time I pick them, I lose with them. And, you know, and I was going out on the cuff saying the Browns were going to win last week was kind of funny. But then the Bears playing the Lions so tight, that was another little bit of a surprise. And Matt winning 2 or 3 weeks in a row, that was my biggest surprise.
Well, see, it's not really a surprise when you consider he hasn't been on the show the weeks he's won, and I always get his picks, like, after the show is aired. So I think he's picking and choosing here to try to set himself up to win. And, of course, tonight he had issues at the last moment. So hopefully he'll be on at some point to pick the games for us. But
see, you know, the Giants, though, they did expose the Cowboys a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can regroup. But I still like the Cowboys' offensive line and the things they do with Zach. So, you know, going 11-2 to this point in the season, I mean, you're a damn good football team, and you got to be, you know, right there in the hunt with the Patriots. And the Patriots, the Broncos got a big game with the Patriots this week, which, you know, could be dismal for them.
Hopefully. All right, Oz, what's your big takeaway?
I am not getting off the horse, or in this case, the lion. Number 2 seed in the NFC is the Detroit Lions. Now, you were saying before about, them barely beating Chicago, but that's the point. They are the team with the lucky horseshoe up the butt this season, okay? They've played 13 games. They've been behind in 12 of them, okay? This team comes back. They've been in all 9 of their wins. They've been behind. They've had to come from behind. This is a team that, once again, is going to go far into the playoffs. They convinced me again this week.
All right, but this is the thing. You say they're going far in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And my question is this. Teams that have a tendency to win like that, you know, you had the Cardiac Browns in 1980. I mean, you have multiple teams like this, the Broncos with Tebow. It seems to me like they get in the playoffs, that luck runs out. I mean, I think you can only go with that for so long.
Well, here's the thing, and you guys have already touched upon this to some extent. The teams that are looking best in the NFC right now are those that are bubbling under. You're talking about the Giants, who are going to go in as a 5 or 6 because they're not going to win the division at this point. You guys are talking about the Buccaneers, who might beat out the Falcons but are still going in at no higher than number 4. You're talking about seeing a lot of upsets in this NFC bracket. And I think when the dust settles, especially if Dallas gets knocked off early by, like, Seattle maybe, the Lions are in great shape to make that Super Bowl appearance.
Yeah, but with the Cowboys, number one, the Giants aren't out of the divisional race. They're, 2 games back? And Dallas' schedule's not real easy. They got to play Tampa Bay and Detroit, and then they go to Philadelphia. I mean, I don't think it's a given that they're going to win 2 of those 3 games, or at least 1 of those 3 games.
Who do the Giants have left?
I don't know. It's not like I'm prepared for this, but we have we have a new co-host on tonight. He used to be with us back in, I think, the 80s, but he's come back tonight. Matt Andruskavich. How you doing, Matt?
Back in the 80s.
Podcast was big in the 80s.
I am doing good. I had a little matter I had to attend to. It'll make sense off the air, but I'm glad to be in.
All right. One of them things where you got mad again and had to kick somebody's ass, was it?
I think I did pretty well last week.
Yeah. You came in first last week at 12-4. Me and Brian were 11-5. So for the year, I'm up 2 games on you, 3 on Brian.
Yeah.
What was your big takeaway from this week, Matt, other than your 49ers were really sad?
I believe I told you they were going to lose. I think
doesn't matter. I'm still going to make fun of you. Go ahead.
That's all right. You got a nice little bye week with the Bengals playing the Browns. So
at least we beat them. So. The question is, could
exactly. No, we didn't. That was their last win last year. I guess my only takeaway this week was just the way the NFC is kind of taking shape. You guys probably have touched on this. The Green Bay-Seattle game was a big surprise. Green Bay went in looking really good. They made a lot of plays. I think Seattle, I don't think they had more balls pop them in the air. I don't think I've seen that since the 2014 NFC Championship game when it was happening then. So it always seems to happen against the Packers. But the Packers played really well. They pounded the Seahawks, kind of shook things up in the NFC a little bit. But you got Tampa Bay, who's looking good, and Detroit hanging on. This is a highly competitive NFC. However, any of these teams could go. I don't think it's any kind of a lock for Dallas, and if Dallas doesn't do it, if Seattle doesn't all of a sudden turn it on, any of these teams could end up winning the NFC.
Lions.
Yeah, the Lions could. I don't think they will. I think I got to go with more of the sure thing. With I think I'd be more looking at like a Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers and Eli Manning. The teams with the experienced quarterback that have won a Super Bowl, been here before. It's hard for me to picture a Dak Prescott. It's hard for me to picture a Jameis Winston or even a Matthew Stafford who just doesn't win playoff games. But this year, I think it's possible. It's a wide open NFC.
All right, we'll go ahead and start picking the games. Matt, we'll let you go first since I know you're a big Seahawk fan. We got the Rams at the Seahawks.
Yeah. Rams at the Seahawks. Well, good for I have to say congrats to Oz because it sure looked like Jeff Fisher was sticking around for a while. Hey,
yay! Amen. Hallelujah.
Good for you. Hopefully.
Now the question is, do those players hate Jeff Fisher so much to mount up and have a big upset win this week?
Well, I would say it would be possible, but I just don't think there's enough talent there.
Well,
Seattle
I'll tell you what,
off,
if they're even competitive in this game in Seattle after what they did at home against Atlanta, I think that'll tell you all you need to know about Jeff Fisher.
Yeah, that's true, but it's hard to picture this special teams interim coach coming in and rallying this kind of talent level. I don't know. With Seattle, this is in Seattle. They are coming off a beatdown, and they know they need to respond. If Seattle doesn't win by more than 2 touchdowns, there's probably even more wrong there. But I would expect Seattle to win this with zero trouble. And I know the Rams always give them trouble, but I don't think it's going to happen on Thursday.
Yeah, I'm going with Seattle also. Coop?
Same. Seattle all the way across the board on me.
Brian?
Yeah, I'm going with Seattle.
Oz, do you want to be a man and pick your own team, or are you going to cower like a little girl?
Yeah.
I'm going to cower like a little girl, I would hope.
If I would love to be able to pick the Rams in this game, but just no way. I mean, the Seahawks are 2-2 in their last 4. They put up 5 against Tampa Bay a little while ago. I'm sure the Rams will be stoked that Fisher is gone. I mean, they won't have to play that middle school offense anymore, as Mr. Curley put it. But on top of everything else that Matt mentioned, 4 days to prepare with a new coach that's coming from special teams, I got to go with the Seahawks. However, I will say that Gurley will score at least 1 touchdown in this game, maybe 2.
All right. Next game, Miami at the New York Jets, Coop.
Yeah, I'm taking the Fins, baby. They're my childhood team, and they beat up on the Cardinals pretty good last week. And the Jets kind of had they basically had a bye week with San Fran.
But Tannehill's out.
You picked
but Tannehill's out, right?
They were playing with us. We were winning for a while.
I know. You were up 2 touchdowns, weren't you? Or 14-3?
17-0 at the half.
Yeah.
And then they put the rest of our players on IR, so I guess it was bound to happen. Jets would win.
And they went in at halftime, and Chip Kelly said, "What the hell are you guys doing? We're not supposed to
Exactly.
win."
We want the number 1 pick. What are you doing out there?
The hell with Matt Andrews Scavenge. We want to make his life even worse. But all right, Brian.
What game is this again? Because you guys just started rambling on about
Dolphins
San Francisco.
and Jets. Pay attention, please.
Oh, yeah. Dolphins. It tells you how much I care about this game.
Like
Dolphins.
you did in school when you were listening to the teacher. Write down the important stuff on your hands so you can take the test.
Yeah, Dolphins. Well, yeah, it's hard to pick the Dolphins, but got to go with Dolphins, I guess. I don't know. God, I don't like the Jets. So.
No, Tannehill's out. I hate the Jets too, but they're playing at home, and I hate the Dolphins too. So I'm going to pick the Jets.
Now, remember when you picked the Jets to beat the Colts is because they were at home.
Yeah, okay, whatever. I mean, Tannehill's also out for Miami, and while most teams could shrug that off, I don't know who the Dolphins have coming in off.
Matt Moore is the backup.
Matt Moore, oh boy, yes, the immortal Matt Moore.
Not Matt
no,
Moore,
Jets.
Matt Moore with an M.
Yes.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
Matt Moore.
Yeah, I know. I got it. Jets.
It's a hard game to pick. I think this is going to be really ugly with the quarterback change. But I'm going to go with Miami in a close one just because they've got so much to play for, and I just think the Jets are in disarray.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Dolphins also, but I'm not happy about it. All right, next game. This will be a classic. Brian, the Cleveland Browns at the Buffalo Bills. Does Cleveland get their first win this week?
Not unless Buffalo sends the local high school team, and even then it may be close. Cleveland. I think honestly, 4 or 5 weeks ago I thought they'd lucked themselves into a win, but I'm to the point now where I honestly think they could very easily go 0-16. So I'm going to go Buffalo.
I think they could win this game. But I don't think they will. But I do think they could win this game. But
why?
It could go either way.
What makes you think they could even put up points on this
Buffalo is in complete disarray also, or very close to it with Rex Ryan. It sounds like he's having trouble with the guys up top. They're fighting about who's going to play quarterback. And I don't know why anybody would want to play Cardell Jones over Tyrod Taylor.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I think that Buffalo wins, but I think it might be closer than you think. I think it might be 27-10 instead of 27-0. Coop?
Well, Cleveland could win this game if Buffalo's plane crashes on the way there.
It's a home game. That's not going to happen.
Outside of that, well, then there you go, Buffalo.
All right. Who hadn't picked this yet, Matt?
Me.
Yeah, I haven't. Go ahead, Oz.
No, go ahead, Matt. Pick Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm picking Buffalo, 27-10.
Okay. No, Cleveland, guys. Okay, y'all are making jokes.
Are you drinking beer again during the show? Because last week you were and you went 8-8 and picked Cleveland.
Should I?
You're not rolling something up and right before you're.
Well, okay. Should I do the full confession? Should I go on air with the full confession here?
Sure, why
not? Between shows, I did have a California Chesterton. It is true, but I want to say
you have to be high to pick Cleveland. That explains it.
Well, I mean, okay, look, again, I'm sticking with this rhetoric until they prove me wrong, which is going to happen, I think, this week. But I just don't believe that the Cleveland Browns are as bad as that Detroit Lions team that went 0-16. I don't believe Cleveland's going to go 0-16. Here's the other thing. The stuff that Mike was talking about regarding the Ryans seems to be real. All of a sudden, from out of everywhere are these unnamed sources talking about how Ryans, halfway out the door, Fisher just barely beat him out the door in Los Angeles. I mean, I think that there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff going on there. The stuff with Tyrod Taylor is ludicrous. It's almost like he's putting this team into a graveyard spiral out of spite or something. And, the Browns, this team, despite their, lack of talent or whatnot, has been playing hard all year. They will stay in this game.
I beg to differ. They did not play hard against the Bengals.
Okay, see, I didn't see any of that game, so I can't attest to that. But
they've been playing hard all year.
Yeah, I mean, how can you? That would be like somebody saying Washington can't beat Alabama at a national playoff game and never seen Washington play.
Here we go.
Right.
Yeah, but we're talking about NFL here. We're talking about NFL.
Yeah,
I don't care. Look, take the loss, you guys. Take
all right,
the loss.
now
I'm going to lose this game. You're all going to win. Yeah.
All right, next game. We're going to get off this. You just lost all credibility on that game because you haven't even seen Cleveland play this year. But, Oz, the Detroit Lions, your Super Bowl 51 champions against the New York Giants.
Hey, this is an NFC conference final preview here. Lions versus Giants.
Okay, pick it now then.
Pick it now then. Well, here's the problem. Stafford's got this dislocated middle finger issue, so he's going to be wearing a glove during this game. The weakness of the Lions all season has been the running game. They're going to have to come up with something real fast this week. I don't think it's going to happen. I am going to take the Giants in this game, and I think that Stafford will recover and be fine for the playoffs. Giants.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Giants also. Defensively, they're really good. Yeah. And Detroit's had a hard time moving the ball the last couple of weeks, but their defense played well. I don't know. I think the game's close to a toss-up, to tell you the truth, because, Sunday night, Giants season on the line. They had a huge win against Dallas. A lot of teams with just a typical NFL trap game. I'm going with the Giants. Coop?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Giants, too. I mean, middle finger, first week out, having that, gloving it up, shooting it up, all that stuff, he's going to be real uncomfortable. And like you said, they don't have much of a running game. And Giants, I'll tell you what, they really impressed me against the Cowboys. And if they can even keep that same tempo, that they should beat the Lions.
All right, Brian?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm going to go with the Giants. It's an impressive game against Dallas. It's a team that's continually got some fight in them. So I like Dallas in this one.
All right, Matt.
I want to go Detroit just because I like the fight that I see in them in the fourth quarter of games. I like their offense, and I think their defense has been underrated this year. But I had to be really impressed with what I saw with the Giants, especially defensively. I don't think the Giants played particularly well overall as a team, but they were able to force Dallas to play worse. And just the whole Eli Manning, December, and I know that he's not been always historically really good. He's not a perennial playoff quarterback. To me, it even questions if he's a Hall of Famer. But this year, the Giants seem to be on the upward tick at home. I'm going to go with the Giants. I got to go with what my head's telling me here.
All right, next game, Philadelphia at Baltimore. I guess I'll pick this one first. I'm going to go with the Ravens, simply for the fact that Philadelphia hadn't played well lately. They played better last week than they did the week before in Cincinnati, but really right now the Bengals are probably the best team in the NFL. They just got off to a bad start. So I'm going with Baltimore. Brian?
Pains me to have to go with Baltimore, but I agree. I got to go with Baltimore, but I really don't want to.
Coop.
Yeah, I'm going with Baltimore. I mean, they played the Patriots pretty well last week, and I think they'll come out of that Patriots game saying they need that win to stay in the hunt. So it'll be kind of interesting, actually. I'm gonna stick with the Ravens.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, Baltimore, no question about it. I don't really have much to say about it.
So
Baltimore,
we know Oz is picking Philadelphia, right?
No, come on. I may be crazy.
Right, that would be crazy to think you would pick a crazy team.
I know.
Really
You already picked Cleveland the last 2 weeks. All right, mark you down for 0-1 this week.
Oh, like the
It
Joker
is funny
says.
when you get one of these right, but it just doesn't happen enough.
I know, Oz. Come on, you hit like 1 out of every 4.
Well, okay, I'll just go with what all you guys say every time, every week, because we
hurt these feelings. We're sorry.
Yeah, well, no.
We thought we got the feelings off the show, but I guess
we're
not.
starting a new show. Don't worry.
Yeah,
you're going to be okay, Oz. We're here for you.
Yeah.
All right. Next up,
okay.
We'll go.
So, by the way, I'm going with the Ravens.
Okay. Next game. Probably the biggest game of the week. The Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cincinnati Bengals, Brian.
Yeah, that's the biggest game.
What's big about that?
Steelers. They're getting hot. They're getting hot at the right time.
It's big to me and Brian. And if
hey,
it's big
Steelers
to me and Brian,
are getting hot at the right time.
Big game. Okay.
So Steelers are getting hot at the right time. I think this is going to be, continuation of that. just sets everything up for that Baltimore game. So it's the game that they got to win, and I think Steelers will win this.
All right, Matt?
Yeah, Steelers should win this. I think Le'Veon Bell just makes such a difference being out there as opposed to last year. He's going to give this team so much more going into the postseason. Whether or not Big Ben is going to be able to be that quarterback in the postseason remains to be seen. But for right now, regular season, I just have no doubt that their offense is going to put up a lot of points.
All right, Coop?
Pittsburgh Steelers against the lowly Bengals.
Well, my feelings are hurt, so I don't know if I want to play anymore.
Did you move to Wisconsin in the last week?
No, absolutely not.
Northern Wisconsin. The southern Wisconsin, part of Wisconsin is a little tougher. So.
OC, baby. OC, baby. No, it pains me. It pains me to have to agree with one guy on the show, but at least I'm disagreeing with another guy on the show who convinced me several weeks ago that the Bengals actually suck. So I have to go with the Steelers.
Okay, I totally lost me there. One guy said something, another guy said something. I'm going with the Bengals.
Of course you are.
All right, let's hear it, Mike. What's your rationale?
Let's
hear your rationale now. I want to hear
my
why.
My rationale is this.
Bad weather.
It's going to be probably about 15 degrees with a chance of snow. Roethlisberger, over the last few years, has not played well in that kind of weather. With that kind of weather, the Bengals can actually put 8 men in a box, put Pac-Man Jones on Antonio Brown. Now, Brian can tell you the only guy that ever slows down Antonio Brown is Pac-Man Jones. He's never had a huge game against the Bengals. He might get the 5 or 6 catches for 50 or 60 yards, but I think Pac-Man can remove him from the situation. I think the Bengals' offensive line, the Bengals have played much better just by doing one thing, which was taking their first-round draft pick, Cedric Ogbuehi, getting him off the damn field, putting Eric Winston in for him. And Winston's not great, but anything's better than Ogbuehi. I think Dalton has played better than Roethlisberger this year. He's more consistent. He doesn't turn the ball over as much. This game's going to come down to if Le'Veon Bell can run for 150 or 200 yards. You got to remember this. If you're running the ball up the middle, you got Geno Atkins. You got Vontaze Burfict there. Hell, the last 2 times the Bengals have played Le'Veon Bell, Vontaze Burfict's taken him out of the game. I'm going with the Bengals. I think they will be highly motivated.
You're talking a lot of smack, considering 3 weeks ago you wrote a piece on thegruelingtruth.net talking about how much the Bengals suck.
Yeah.
I mean,
I talked about how much the Bengals
it's Steeler week, it all changes on Steeler week.
Yes, because other than the start of the year when I picked Pittsburgh to win the division over Cincinnati, I've always been such a homer when I pick.
I'm not saying that.
I've picked them against the Bengals 5 times this year. Mark Cooper has picked it against the Broncos how many times?
Yeah, but the Broncos are good.
No, they're not. The Broncos would get their ass tore up by the Bengals right now because their offensive line is a mess, and the Bengals have Carlos Dunlap and Geno Atkins.
Well, we're not picking theoretical games, only real ones.
You must have some big-time hops because you hop on and off that bus.
I'm not hopping on and off that bus. I watch what I see. A.J. Green will be back. Hey, A.J. Green will be back. He always terrorizes Pittsburgh. Tyler Boyd's playing great. You got Tyler Eifert. You got Jeremy Hill. The offensive line has improved. The Bengals will win the game.
I think Ladarius Green is going to be one of the guys that really hurts the Bengals in this game.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Tyler Eifert is going to hurt the Steelers more because if you want Ladarius Green, I'll take Tyler Eifert.
Why do I get called the crazy one?
Because you are. You picked the freaking Browns. At least I pick a team that's won 5 games this year. You picked a team that hadn't won a game since 1957 when Paul Brown was the coach.
See, what? I think that no.
Plus, you're a freaking Rams fan, which loses all your credibility, anyways.
Yeah, well, whatever.
But you did. You picked the Browns last week to beat the Bengals. That was a bad pick. You picked the Browns to beat the Bills.
You did?
What game we picking?
The Browns to beat the Bengals?
Yeah, he picked the Browns last week.
Well, we're done.
Oh, man.
You see how I deflected the crazy real quick?
We're moving on to Colts-Vikings. Mike, what are you picking in this game?
Be quiet, Oz.
Yeah,
We're
he
having
did this
a grown-up
earlier.
discussion. Why don't you sit in the corner and be quiet? But
Okay.
we are going on next to the Colts and the Vikings, Oz. Who do you got?
Couldn't have said it better myself, Mike. Let's see. I'm going to go, wow, both of these teams are unappealing. However, the Colts are a little bit sharper lately. Let's see.
The Colts are sharper lately. They lost to Houston at home last week, Oz.
I'll take the Vikings.
Gee, how are they sharper?
Are you? What are you watching?
Oz, how are the Colts sharper? The Colts got beat at home by the Houston Texans quarterback by Mark Cooper's favorite quarterback.
I'm doing this without a net, guys. I'm just doing this off the top of my head.
Well, maybe you could watch a game from time to time.
You're doing it without the internet too, apparently.
Or a TV.
Okay.
Or
in any case,
no internet, no TV.
We got to quit picking on Oz. Last time that happened, the guy got mad and quit. Mark.
Yeah, my panties.
Hey, I'm picking the Vikings because they're a better football team, period.
Alrighty. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Vikings also. I mean, the Colts are dangerous with Andrew Luck, but the Colts' offensive line's terrible. Brian.
And this is the Colts playing who?
The Vikings.
Oh, okay. Good Lord.
Never knows what game it is.
I have no idea anymore.
Well, whiskey and NyQuil will do that.
Yeah, well, let's go with definitely. I don't know. I got to go with Minnesota. God, this game sucks. We'll go with Minnesota.
All right.
It does.
It's not that bad of a game.
It's not that bad.
Terrible.
It's not like the Bills and the Browns, which I always pick the Browns. But go ahead, Matt.
I like the Vikings here. I think the Colts are good. It was with Andrew Luck. They can be good. But that loss to Houston showed me a lot. I'm not going to pick them in this. I think the Vikings got a lot to play for at home. They got off a tough win against Jacksonville, which was kind of odd. I'm not saying the Vikings are a lot better here, but at home I think their defense is really going to give Andrew Luck trouble, and they'll score just enough points to win.
All right. Now for the upset special of the week, Green Bay at Chicago. Coop?
No way. I'm sticking with Green Bay. Are you kidding me?
All righty. Matt?
Yeah, Packers are going to win this. I've seen this movie too many times. There's no way.
Yeah. I'm thinking. What are we on again? You guys are losing me tonight.
Packers and Bears.
Packers, Bears.
Oh, Packers. Gee, many Christmas. I was still on Minnesota.
You gave the sigh. I knew that you probably didn't know the game. Whenever I hear you got just the right sigh. I'm not sure what game it is.
Yeah, that's what I get for being
in
the whiskey. You lose track.
What I get for being sick tonight. I can't concentrate.
Oz.
Packers.
Yes.
Oz. Packers.
Yes.
Packers.
Okay.
Bears.
Okay. See, you're not feeding me in the correct way. You're supposed to say, okay, now, Oz, do you have any balls? Are you going to go with the Bears, or are you going to just go with the crowd?
Hey, Oz, are you going to pick the game, or are you just going to ramble on?
Right. And then I pick the Bears, and you all make fun of me. See,
are you picking the Bears?
Is that what's going to happen?
I'm being butthurt. No, I'm going to pick the Packers.
All right. I'm going to agree with everybody else. I'm going with the Packers also. Next game.
Upset special of the week, huh?
Yeah. It could have been.
Brilliant.
I think the Bears could maybe score 13 points. Next game. Brian, we'll start you off so you don't lose track here. Tennessee at Kansas City, which is a huge game.
Great.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. Every time I go against Kansas City, they bite me in the butt, but I really like the way Tennessee's playing. I'm going to say toss up. I'm going to go with Tennessee in a close game.
All right. I'm going with Kansas City. I guess I've been converted after 3 years of thinking they suck. What they did to Oakland was impressive, especially when you consider that Oakland won the turnover battle by 3 and still lost the game. Coop?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Kansas City. I mean, I like Tennessee. I think, like you've been saying all year, they're not becoming a team, and I agree with that. But I just don't think the caliber of Kansas City right now. Kansas City's kind of on a roll, so it's going to be interesting to see going into the last 3 weeks of the season, how that AFC West turns out.
All right, Oz?
I believe Dallas also won the turnover battle by 3 and lost the game against the Giants. But, yeah, this is a very nice game.
I thought you were doing this without a net.
Yeah, but I just happen to remember that one.
Oh.
The mind is a funny thing. But
sometimes the net works, sometimes it don't.
Exactly. The neural net. But I'm right there with Mike. You know, I've been thinking the Chiefs suck for 2-3 years. I mean, it's kind of funny when you go a whole season without connecting with a wide receiver for a touchdown. I mean, that kind of like, yeah, you kind of think this team sucks. But Andy Reid has had his best coaching season ever this year. I'm going to have to go with the Chiefs, although I do like the Titans in the playoffs.
All right, Matt?
I want the Titans to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
I really like them. I really like their offense. I like Mariota. I really like everything about what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think they're going to give Kansas City a real battle. Kansas City, I think, is like the 27th run defense, and they're not exceptionally great against the pass either, and they got weapons all over the place. I think they're really going to give them a hard time, but Andy Reid is just finding ways to get the most out of this team in big spots. And at home with, home field advantage is on the line. A first-round bye is on the line. A division title is on the line. It's a huge game. I think Kansas City is going to win a very close game, but they'll win it.
All right, next game. Brian, or no, we just went with Brian first, didn't we? Coop, Jacksonville at Houston.
Well, I mean, just Jacksonville just cannot get it together. And Houston just came off a big win, and they're probably got some confidence building up. So I'm going to stick with Houston in this week.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, Jacksonville's not very good. I think they'll give them a battle just because it's a divisional game, and I don't like Houston at all. But I think Houston can keep their season alive with a win.
All right, Brian?
Yeah, I'll go with Houston. I don't like them. Watching them this past weekend just never really excite me very much. Osweiler is god-awful. But, Jacksonville's really bad at times. So I'll go with Houston because, it's a game that they got to have.
All right, I'm going with Houston also. Oz?
Wow. Okay, so Houston is tied with Tennessee at the top of that division right now, right?
Yep.
So that means we've got Kansas City beating Tennessee. That means Houston wins this game, and they're uncontested in first place and in the driver's seat for a playoff spot?
Scary,
No way. The universe cannot be that unfair. Jacksonville's going to win this game, and I keep getting burned on Jacksonville, and I don't care. Jacksonville.
All right, I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, tell me I'm crazy. Go ahead.
No, your
and
feelings have already been hurt enough. I'm backing off.
I know, and then we're going to talk about those quality losses that they've had this season.
Matt.
That's important.
Matt. That's in college football if you live up there.
Oh, sorry.
Matt,
Yeah.
New Orleans at Arizona.
New Orleans at Arizona. Oh, boy. Two very disappointing teams.
Yes.
Arizona lost another game because of their special teams. That's like 5. I don't know what their problem is this year, but they should be so much better than what they are, but they're just not. And New Orleans, they're struggling as well. I'm just going to take Arizona in a close game just because they're at home, but these are two really disappointing teams.
Oz.
Yeah, I'll give it to Arizona with the home field advantage. These are two disappointing teams. That's about all I got.
Brian?
Yeah, the two disappointing teams. Agree with that. I'll pick Arizona, but I guess I'll go with Arizona. I don't know. That's a hard pick. Go with Arizona.
Yeah. I guess I'll go with Arizona, but it's a toss-up. I'm just going with Arizona because they're the home team. Coop?
I'm doing the same thing because every time I pick, I guarantee it, the Saints are going to win because I'm picking the Cardinals, but at least the Cardinals seem to be putting up more points lately than the Saints.
All right, next up, San Francisco at Atlanta. So,
oh, God.
Coop, are you taking Atlanta on the bye week, or do you think the bye week will beat them?
The birds are flying, and shoot, half of San Francisco's on IR. Not that they would have had a shot before.
They activated almost everybody.
Here come the excuses. Matt, you going to pick your team like a grown man, or are you going to cower in a corner?
No, I'm going to be like you for a few weeks and not pick my team.
That wasn't like me, because when I called on myself, I didn't say, am I going to be a grown man or am I going to cower in a corner?
Well, why would you do that? Because that would not be that wouldn't be very self-serving, would it?
And I'm very self-serving. Is that what you're saying?
I think there are times where you may think a little bit about
Brian, you want to pick this game?
Time.
Yeah,
I'm
going to pick Atlanta. They are going to kill them.
You're still talking? You're interrupting Brian. Go ahead, Brian.
I never made my pick because I got interrupted.
You're still doing it. Brian said,
I am.
Have some common courtesy, Matt. Jeez. Go ahead, Brian.
I'm going to say Atlanta before Matt starts talking again. So Atlanta.
Good luck.
Oz.
Matt, I think you should apologize to Mike for hurting his feelings.
I'll try to. I'll shake his hand after.
Yeah, there you go. And I would like to thank the 49ers for once again reestablishing that they are in fact worse than the Rams. So yeah, I'm going to go with Atlanta.
Wait a second. Matt, real quick, even though you hurt my feelings, I'm going to ask you a question. What team are the 49ers beating this year?
Oh, here we go.
That is true.
Okay.
And I
they
believe
not play
there
the
was a
Rams
shutout.
again? Don't they play the Rams again, too?
Yes,
the last game of the year. And wouldn't it be hilarious if we went 2-14?
No, hilarious is not the word. That would be awesome. So the Wild Card Ticket Show would be so much more
We'll have
enjoyable.
everybody on IR. We will have literally piles of rocks lined up on the offensive line.
Here we go with the IR crap again. All right.
Well, they're
Coop,
purposely doing it now.
Coop, did you pick this game yet?
Nice.
Of course.
Okay. I think even if everybody hasn't picked, we all agree. So the next game, Coop, I'll let you go first. It's the old grown man or cower in the corner. New England at Denver.
Oh.
Well, being Tampa Bay is my new favorite team, being a rough place for them too.
You don't even remember being a Bronco now, do you?
Broncos who?
Yeah, that's
Broncos
what I thought.
There you go.
Broncos. I have no idea who you're talking about. I'm taking the Patriots.
All right. I'm going to agree with you. Denver's a mess. I mean, they're not going to be able to score enough points, and no matter how good a defense you play, Tom Brady's still going to get in the 20s, and I don't think Denver can. Brian?
Yep.
Yeah, we got to go with New England. If anybody here picks Denver, which I'm looking at Oz at this point, seriously.
You're in Oz's house? This explains a lot.
Yeah. Metaphorically looking, Mike.
Yeah. So if Oz picks Denver, then we know what the problem is with Oz. So. Go ahead, Oz.
Oh, no way am I picking Denver. No way. New England defense especially looks great against Baltimore, and that's full of veteran guys led by Joe Flacco. I mean, they'll crush Simeon. Yeah, I think New England's going to win this game big.
All right, Matt.
For one reason, Coop's not picking them. If he's not picking them, how can any of us pick them?
Return of the Man Crush.
To the show last week.
Return of the Man Crush.
But
here it is.
Just saying, how Coop's not picking them? That's crazy.
All right, next up, we've got Oakland at San Diego. I would like to say San Diego was rolling this year until Coop decided he now loved Phillip Rivers, and it's been all downhill for Rivers since. Matt, Oakland at San Diego.
Another disappointing team in San Diego, but they find ways to lose. Oakland needs to win this. They need to rebound after last week. Oakland will win. I'm not sure how they'll win exactly, but it could be the defense, it could be the offense, it could be both, but they will win.
That was really going out on a limb. Brian, what do you think?
Yeah. I'm going to go with Oakland, even though they crapped the bed last week. But I think they'll rebound. And you're right. See, San Diego just seems to find a way to lose. I think when they game plan it, I think they game plan the final part of the game plan is, okay, if we're winning, make sure we figure out a way to lose. So it seems to be the game plan. So I'm going to go with Oakland. And I think it'll be a close game, though.
Yeah, I do too. I could see San Diego winning this. I mean, Oakland looked pretty bad offensively. I mean, Carr was 17 for 41. His pinky obviously bothers him. I'm going to go with Oakland, though. What do you say, Coop?
I jumped on the Rivers bandwagon for about 4 or 5 weeks there and got just.
Are we off now? Did you just break your ankles?
Yeah, I'm jumping off the bandwagon. Just listen for the smacks. And but Carr, that finger. It's going to be interesting to see how much that finger bothers him because, Carson Palmer last year, remember in the playoffs, that thing bothered him more than I think people thought it did too. So, like Stafford and Carr and these guys that are having these hand problems, man, I'll tell you, those are tough to overcome as a quarterback when you're, trying to keep tempo and get some speed on the ball and get the ball where it's got to be when it's got to be there at the NFL level. Because, man, you got to have put it on a dime, not put it in a bucket.
Yeah, and with hand problems, probably the only worst job to have hand problems at outside of NFL quarterback would be if you're a professional hand model.
Or a fluffer.
Yeah, or a masseuse. Speaking of masseuses, Oz, who you got, Oakland or San Diego?
Let's see. I'll go with the Raiders. Yeah, I think talent wins out. I think the Raiders are one of the best 3 teams in the AFC.
Brian, did you pick this one yet?
Yeah, I picked Oakland.
Okay. Next up, Carolina at Washington. We'll start off with Brian.
I'm going to go with Washington. I don't know. I don't know why I want to go anywhere else. But I'm going to go with Washington.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, I like Washington too. I still like their offense a lot. They survived a tough game against the Eagles. I don't know what Jordan Reed's condition is, but they're getting a lot out of Pierre Garçon, moving him into kind of that number 1 possession receiver. They're getting more production out of Deshaun Jackson. They're just so deep on offense, I don't think Carolina will be able to keep up.
All right. Oz.
Well, I kind of like the way Carolina played last week, so I'm going to roll with them. I don't really think this game matters very much at all, so I'm gonna pick the Panthers.
So you think it doesn't matter to Washington?
Washington's on the verge of a wild card berth.
You really think that they can make the playoffs? Realistically,
they're going to win out.
What
Washington
have they got?
Win out
they're going to
win in the playoffs, and they have a better chance of going to the Super Bowl than the Detroit Lions.
Who does Washington have left?
Chicago and might be the Giants at the end.
After this game,
Giants are Philly,
and they're going to and they're going to win out.
They've got Chicago and New York. They got Chicago and New York.
The New York game will be tough, but
they'll
I
be
think they'll
10-5-1 and they'll be in.
They win 1 and they're in?
No, they'll win all 3 and they'll be in. They'll be 10-5-1.
They're not going to win all
3. I think
3.
they got to win 2, though.
They'll lose this game. I just don't believe in Washington. Nope, I'm going to take Carolina in this game.
But you believe in Cleveland?
I believe that Cleveland can win 1 game out of 16. Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
So what don't you like about Washington?
I just don't think they're going to make the playoffs at this point of the season. Okay,
but why?
I'm basically applying backward logic. Okay, here are the teams I think
we agree with that.
Right. Yeah, I knew that was coming. I gave you the easy alley-oop there. I gave you the easy feed for the dunk. I admit it. But the point is that I've got my 6 teams that are going to make the playoffs, and there's going to be losses. If I'm right about these teams making the playoffs, there's obviously going to be losses by these teams that aren't going to make the playoffs that we don't foresee, and we go, oh, my God, they would have made the playoffs if it weren't for that bad referee decision in the Carolina game.
Well, who's your surprise team?
Yeah, who's your 6 playoff teams in the NFC?
Okay.
Yeah, I want to know who these are.
Okay, so I've got Dallas and the Giants. Okay, I've got Detroit. I've got Seattle. I've got
Seattle's making it twice?
Seattle? No, I've got Dallas and the Giants. I've got Seattle. Okay, I've got the Lions. And, okay, what division am I missing? I'm missing
I don't know. You need two more. If you had this planned out, you would know who you were picking.
I thought you said Seattle twice. Like, well, that's interesting.
Hold on. Yeah. They're going to give them 2 seeds this year. Hold on just a second.
All right, so Dallas is winning the NFC East. Seattle's winning the West.
How about this? We'll go ahead and let everybody else pick this game while Oz does his research to figure out what 6 teams are making the playoffs that aren't the Washington Redskins. Coop, Carolina or Washington?
Yeah, Washington's still trying to stay alive. I like them at home over Carolina. And I guess maybe more than just because it's at home and I don't like Cam Newton very much.
All right, Brian?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Carolina.
I think you already picked this game, didn't you?
I don't think I picked this game.
Oh, okay. You're going with Carolina?
Yeah, I'm going with Carolina.
Alrighty. Matt, did you already pick this one?
Yeah, I picked Washington.
All right, I'm going with Washington.
No, you know what? I picked Washington. That's right.
Okay.
I forgot.
I picked Washington, too. So, Oz, you got your 6 teams yet that are making it over the Redskins?
Yeah, sure. Here. I'll
Let's do it right after the Cowboys pick.
That's what I thought. After the Cowboys pick?
No.
The Browns,
who are
the
your
Rams.
teams that are making the playoffs?
I got Cowboys, Giants. I've got Seahawks. I've got Lions. I've got Falcons, and I've got Buccaneers.
Okay. Well, we'll see what
now
happens.
those teams are all 8-5
That could
and
happen.
above. Those teams are
That
all
could happen.
8-5 and above, and the Redskins have the tie. That's what's going to lose them that spot.
Or win it for them. They could win it for them. I mean,
right.
if the last seed finished,
they don't have to worry about a tiebreaker.
They're not going to win out. They're not.
That was like, what, 3 years ago,
them.
everybody, when the Bengals had a tie 3 or 4 years ago, everybody said, that'll keep them out of the playoffs. They ended up 10-5-1, and it got in over a 10-6 team.
Okay, well, and we'll see after this week how awesome I am when they
lose. The crazy thing is I guess as I think about who I think is going to make it, I guess it's going to come down to Tennessee or Tampa Bay and Washington, and I'm not really sure what I think there.
Well, I think Tampa Bay has a tougher schedule.
Right.
I mean, they got to go to Dallas.
This whole time we've been talking about how hot Tampa Bay is.
No. Tampa's got Dallas, New Orleans, Carolina.
Yeah.
Well,
so they should be 10. So there, if you lose the Dallas game, they're 10-6, which a Washington win out puts them ahead of them. We're not talking about.
And there's also Green Bay. I don't think that they're out of it either. This is tough.
Yeah, but the best Green Bay can do is 10-6 too, right? So the whole key here is whether Washington loses another game or not.
Right. I think they do win out. I guess that would put them in over Tampa Bay.
Yeah, it'll put them in over Tampa Bay and Green Bay. So the tie saves them.
Yeah.
They lose that game, which they should have, but Mike Nugent sucks.
Yeah, because Green Bay goes Chicago, Minnesota, Detroit.
Mike Nugent's going to be a bank teller by tomorrow, though. The Bengals finally cut him today.
Well, if that's the case, then
he kicked the ground ball for an extra point in the last game. He seriously did, too. He kicked the ground ball.
It was an onside extra point.
Yeah. All right, last game of the week. I think this is the game of the week, most interesting game of the week. We get to find out about 2 teams that are young but look like they're on the verge of something. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers visiting the Dallas Cowboys. Brian.
I am going to go with Tampa Bay. Wow. I really, in my mind, I just feel like this loss was for Dallas was that deal that now everything will be in an uproar. Tampa Bay is playing really well. This is a huge statement game for Tampa Bay. And I think they're going to play with, a lot of emotion and maybe, we're starting to see Dallas start to fall back a little bit. So I think this is the perfect time for Tampa Bay to be playing Dallas.
All right, Coop.
I think Dallas rebounds big time this week. Everybody gets it together, and I just don't think Tampa Bay's up and coming, and they're my team now since I played there. So I don't really remember who the Broncos were anymore. So I'd like to pick them, but they're so inexperienced. Even though you got a rookie quarterback on the Cowboys, I think they're gonna pick up where they left off before losing to the Giants and beat the Bucks.
All right, so Oz, I'm going to go to you next, but I am going to make one comment. When Brian picked Tampa Bay, you went, wow. You were the guy that picked Cleveland over Buffalo. Who you got in this game?
Yeah, no, I said wow in admiration because that's a great pick. I'm not
You're
going
in trouble,
with
Brian.
No, I'm not going with Tampa Bay.
I guess
so
I have to rethink everything now.
Yeah, no, I'm not going with Tampa Bay, so he's not in trouble. He's making the smart pick. I'm going to go with Dallas. Tampa Bay is on a 5-game winning streak. That's the longest in the NFL, I believe, right now. Besides,
therefore, that's Oz kryptonite. Because if you're on a winning streak, you cannot fake
the Lions, besides Detroit. Okay, then go with Tampa Bay because it's the gutsier pick. Tampa Bay could pull off the upset here, but I think talent wins out. I think Coop is right. I think the Cowboys rebound.
All right, I'll go next. I'll go before Matt since he's behind me. I don't want him whining about, he had to pick behind me all the time. I'm going to Tampa Bay. I think talent wins out here. I think the Bucs win the game. I think they got Levante Davis, linebacker. I think they're a better defensive team. I think they throw the ball better. I think they've got the better quarterback. They got Evans at wide receiver. Offensive line, they're nowhere near as good as the Cowboys. It's the Cowboys' only advantage. And I just think Tampa Bay has a better coach. I think
running game. Running game
Dallas is the only thing Dallas has better than them.
And the offensive line.
So they better be able to run the ball.
And
I'm telling you this.
And their tight end play.
Hey,
and their tight
this
end
is
play.
the thing. You had Jason Witten's old. Jason Witten not what he used to be. The Giants can't cover a tight end. The fact is this: they put up 7 points against the Giants' defense. I think the Bucs' defense is better. I mean, the Bucs' defense held Drew Brees, one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the NFL, to 11 points last week. I mean, this is also a Tampa Bay team that went to Atlanta.
Drew's helter-skelter.
Yeah, but they're a good football team, and they score a lot of points. I'm going with Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is
and
better.
They held Seattle to 5 as well. They held Seattle to 5 a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So I think this is a low-scoring game. And I think I disagree with Brian. I think if Dallas is going to win a Super Bowl, they're going to have Tony Romo to do it.
Wow.
All I know is this. I'm not saying anything about. I love Prescott.
You say Tony Romo in Spanish, right?
Huh?
You know how you say Tony Romo in Spanish?
How?
Mark Sanchez.
Okay. Well, right there, the fact that Tony Romo's been a starter and a Pro Bowler most every year for a decade makes him a little bit different than Mark Sanchez. And Mark Sanchez did get the 2 championship games. So actually, Sanchez could say, bullshit, I was better than him. I went to 2 championship games. But
yeah, Tony Romo.
What I see with Prescott is this. When the running game's working perfect, and they're not playing a team, because the one thing he knows about the Giants is they did a lot of show coverage where they were showing and switching off, and it seemed to confuse him. I mean, he had 4 or 5 balls where he threw it. There was no wide receiver even in the vicinity. Now, Tampa Bay runs the same kind of defense. Teams that play more vanilla, like the Eagles, teams like that, he scores points on. But I think when it comes down to it, I would trust a veteran over him right now, and I think Prescott's going to be a stud in the future. But unless Ezekiel Elliott's breaking off big runs, I just don't see him scoring that many points against the Bucs. I'm going with the Bucs. Matt?
I think that was a great learning experience last week against the Giants, and they'll get coached up enough to win.
Matt?
Well, I want to go with Tampa Bay. I do. I think all the arguments for Tampa Bay are good arguments. No, I just think it's too soon. I think this is just one of those things where you got an up-and-coming team thrust into a very difficult road game against the number 1 team in the conference who's coming off a big divisional loss that was on the road. To me, the Tampa Bay Atlanta and the Giants Dallas games are, to me, it's very simple. Those are divisional games. Things happen in divisional games.
Then
I
why
don't
did
think
you write
Tampa
the
Bay's
Bengals
ready
off
for
so
this
quick
game.
against the Steelers, man?
Because they
Yeah,
always
the
lose to the
Jaguars.
Steelers in the big games.
And the
Yeah,
Jaguars
that's in a big
against
game.
the
That's why the
Texans.
Bengals will win it.
Maybe.
Snap, crackle, pop.
And
But-
the fact that the Bengals have been in the playoffs, the last 5 years, and the Steelers have only made it 3 times. Go ahead.
Anyways, about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys, I think Ezekiel Elliott is going to absolutely tear this game up. I like Tampa's defense, don't get me wrong. I think this is just a rebound game for Dallas. The offensive line is going to take over this game, and Ezekiel Elliott is going to probably get close to 200 yards in this game.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay. Well, you know what? I feel a lot better that Brian agrees with me because the other 3 guys on here just don't pick games very well most of the time. So, Brian, I guess it's just me and you on this one.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time, and it won't be the last time, I'm sure.
Okay, get a room, you guys.
Why, Oz? You want to take pictures?
No, I don't. I want it to be behind.
Blow up dolls.
You want to be behind what?
I
right.
want you all to be behind a door.
Oz, you got any final words?
Gee, do I
Don't get
deserve
behind
any,
me.
guys? Do I deserve any?
You have any final words? Don't be all butthurt. It's all right.
Oh man, I'm so depressed. I'm
We're all sending hugs your way.
Maybe
Dude,
you need
I'm
to go to
glad
the
that-
hospital and get it checked out.
Hell no, I need to go to Facebook and start venting my frustration. So that's what I'm going to be doing now that this show's
That's
over.
what
Have a good-
12-year-old girls do when they get upset.
Exactly. Have a good evening, gentlemen.
Brian.
Well, not really much except go Steelers. Getting that much closer to winning a division and being a threat in the playoffs until we play New England. And outside of that, I'm good.
All right. Coop?
Somebody, I think you were singing high praises of Mariota, or Matt was, or somebody was, but I don't think Mariota was very effective this past week. And it'd be interesting to see how he's going to have to improve to make that Titans team a lot better. But it's kind of interesting how this town, being such a Bronco town, has all the winds falling out of the sails pretty fast here. There's even a rumor floating around that Kubiak will retire after this season because of medical reasons. So that was kind of interesting to hear on the street this week. And if you guys saw any of my tweets or stuff, it was check out the cartoon I tweeted with the Broncos' official sponsor was, a product called No Gain.
I saw that. I kind of giggled to
That
myself.
was funny.
Nice.
Yeah, that was hysterical. But
And
yeah,
I know Matt saw it because Matt immediately texted me because Matt Facebook stalks the hell out of you.
but
Love how you
the
just make
wind's
this
out of the
stuff
sails
up,
here in
Mike.
town.
Because he gets on there and he'll call me and he'd say, hey, did you see this picture of Coop back in 1989? He was really doing well back then. Go ahead.
You guys have quite imagination there, Mike. Good stuff, though.
I disagree.
Things that go on in your world, Mike.
All right, Matt, any final words?
How do I possibly follow that up, Mike?
Follow what up? What Coop said?
Follow you.
Coop said it. I didn't.
But no, I think the other thing I'm going to take away from this week, I think you and I are going to be tied after this week.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I think that I'll pretty much finish it off this week. I know the Bengals are going to win. That's a given.
Win.
Tampa Bay Dallas is a toss-up.
Dallas and Pittsburgh are going to win. We're going to be tied.
Yeah. In your dreams. The Bengals will own this. This is not a huge game now. The Bengals will whip their ass. The Bengals will come out with nothing to lose because they've already lost.
She's like, well, I'm not going to pay.
They never heard anything to lose.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up then. I want to remind everybody, Oz, you and Tony Hunter got a Rams show this week?
Yes, we will be doing it this week. LA Rams 2.0 show here at thegruelingtruth.net. Yay.
All right. Brian, your Steelers show with Dwight Stone?
Yeah, we'll be doing the usual, having fun, talking about a win, talking about getting ready for another win this weekend, and getting ready for the showdown with Baltimore.
Yeah, be all cocky because you're about to get owned by the Bengals. Matt, any 49ers show coming up this week?
Yeah, like Brian said, we'll be doing the usual, talking about a loss, getting ready for another loss, and talking and having Dexter be giving us some great memories and talking about a lot of other stuff.
All right, and me and Joe Kelly already taped the Cincinnati Bengals weekly show, which you'll probably be able to hear sometime tomorrow, where we talk about a win last week, and we're talking about a guaranteed win this week. And I would like to say this, Brian, if the Steelers beat the Bengals, Oz will wear a Steelers shirt all week on his Facebook picture.
Oh, come on.
Oh, there we go. What's he going to wear if the Bengals win?
I don't know. A look of shock.
If the Bengals win.
A look of shock.
There you go. Yeah.
Coop, any final words?
No, other than you may have to put those casts back on after the Pittsburgh Steelers beat your Bengals because you're going to be jumping off that wagon.
I don't jump on and off bandwagon just because I pick against my team every once in a while. It has nothing to do with it.
You gave an expose a couple weeks ago that was like a eulogy. And now here you are.
You just gave the same thing for the Broncos. You just gave the same thing for the Broncos.
No, I didn't.
Last week you said this will be the last week they got a chance to win.
I was just telling the truth.
You did say.
Okay. So why am I not telling the truth when I say it? I never once said that the Bengals suck and I'm no longer a fan of the Bengals.
Your eulogy totally. Your eulogy you gave up on them. Tell the truth.
Yeah, you gave up on your team, too.
All right, we'll call it grueling lies.
I've already given up on my team. I don't think they have any chance to make the playoffs.
Right.
I'm just saying that
But you're picking them against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes. Pittsburgh has not played well this year offensively. They got Le'Veon Bell, which scares the hell out of me. But Ben Roethlisberger doesn't. And if Big Ben cannot throw the ball down the field, you can then put 8 guys in the box. In the past years, when Roethlisberger's playing well, you cannot do that, which makes Le'Veon Bell even more dangerous.
Big Ben is too dangerous, period.
He's the best running back in football.
Yeah, but Big Ben's too dangerous. He makes things happen out of nowhere.
Yeah, but he's made a lot of turnovers happen recently, I think. I mean, I didn't see the game last week, but from what I saw in the red zone, it didn't look like he played very well. And Buffalo's defense is not that great. And the Bengals are dominant. So, all right. Coop, did you have any final words other than to make fun of me?
We're good.
All right.
To jump on what he's talking about, Ben has played well with the exception of last week. He's played well since a couple weeks after he came back from the injury. He's actually played well until last week. So kind of hard to say he hasn't played well because
he didn't play well.
Stat-wise, yeah, he didn't play well last week, but he's played well.
I'm basing it more off, Brian, of what I've seen in bad weather over the last couple of years.
Yeah, he's going to play fine.
Are you expecting really bad weather or just cold?
Yeah. It's supposed to be, they're saying, like 15 or 20 degrees and snow.
That's not that bad.
Yeah. Whatever, Coop. It's cold.
I mean, they got the cushy seats and the hat warmers and the gloves. I mean, today it's like foo-foo shit out there. Come on.
Foo-foo shit. We used to have the big heaters.
Oh, yeah. That one guy could stand in front of and take up the whole game.
Hey, and Brian, let's face it, all right? Let's face this one simple fact. I'm just grasping for straws. But we're going to go ahead and get out of here. I got to make myself interested in this game. Maybe they could win the game. I think the game's a toss-up, and I generally do think the game's a toss-up because the Bengals are really playing for nothing right now. So the Bengals are really good at playing for nothing. So we'll just go with that. I just want to watch the Steelers and Ravens the next week, to tell you the truth. But we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Make sure you check out Gridiron Mo, www.gridironmo.com, our main sponsor. Check our shows out on iHeart, iTunes, TuneIn, anywhere you find a podcast, you'll find our sports podcast, you'll find The Grueling Truth. And I want to remind everybody we have a special show Friday, a Legends show, which, Matt, I don't think you know about yet either because we just cemented it. But we'll have former New York Giant linebacker Carl Banks as our guest Friday afternoon.
Excellent.
Show.
I knew that was a possibility. That's good stuff.
I know.
I knew that was a possibility. That's great stuff.
Yeah, but get a hold of me after this. We'll see if he can make it because he has to do it during the day at like 1 o'clock. So.
All right.
Figure out what you can do there and let me know. But I want to thank Os Davis, Brian Schmidt, Mark Cooper, Matt Andrews Scavage, and for coming on the show and being so jovial. And Oz, I mean, you don't have to go after and attack everybody all the time.
Yeah, well, I'm all butthurt, so I don't know if I'm ever going to do this show again.
All right. Well, we will all be back next week, and we got Eddie Cohen, the Dallas Cowboy, host of the Dallas Cowboy podcast. Charlie Boots, host of the Raiders podcast. We'll probably be back next week. And if their teams lose again, it'll be a lot of fun with them after 2 weeks ago when they were both.
Yeah, what's with them not being here after their teams lost?
I've
been here all season.
Very suspicious.
You have not been here all season. You missed like the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, I did miss 2, yeah.
Okay.
Basically all season.
All right. The only ones that have been here all year are me and Brian. We're the only ones that always show up, win or lose. So, all right, guys. Make sure you check us out next week on the NFL Pick'em Show. So, for Brian Schmidt, Mark Cooper, Matt Andrews Scavage, and, of course, Os Davis, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.